peace. We hope that your meetings and your consultations will be auspicious for your countries, for our region, as well as for the whole humanity. In line with the instructions of your leaders, the negotiations that you are running have given fresh hope for peace and has given renewed excitement to the whole world. We fully support these negotiations. You have exerted great effort on behalf of your countries and you continue doing so. For this reason, I would like to, on behalf of myself and my nation, I would like to congratulate your efforts. The conflicts have entered the 5th week, and as your friend and your neighbor, they deeply upset us. Since the first day the crisis began, in order to prevent escalation, at every level we have exerted frank efforts. We have neighborly relations and friendship relations, as well as proximity, and we tried our best in order to fulfill the requirements of this friendship, starting with your heads of state and with many counterparts. We have run a busy traffic of diplomacy. My foreign minister or my defense minister or Mr. Ibrahim, my chief advisor, have always been in contact with their counterparts. At every international platform that we are a part of, we have defended the rights and sensitivities of both parties, and we have adopted a fair approach that that cares for the interests of both parties. As a country which has previously witnessed a lot of suffering, we do not wish for a similar situation to arise on the northern part of the Black Sea. As Turkey, for peace and stability in our region and beyond, we have never shied away from assuming responsibilities. For in a fair peace, we believe there are no losing parties. The extension of the conflict is to nobody's benefit. Each individual that is lost or each building that is destructed is, or every resource that could rather be used for peace, is a value that is taken away from us for our shared future. And it's up to the parties to stop this tragedy. For peace and ceasefire to come as soon as possible would be to the benefit of all parties. We are entering a time period where concrete results should be achieved from negotiations. At the level that we have come to as members of delegation, you have taken up a historic responsibility. The whole world is waiting for good news to come out of your negotiations. With the guidance of your leaders, you are laying the foundation for peace. Every kind of contribution that could make it easier for you, we are ready to deliver. Today, in order to carry out an official visit to Uzbekistan, after this address, I will be moving to Tashkent. But my foreign minister will be ready in order to give you any support that you may need, so he will be in Istanbul. Both parties have legitimate concerns, and it's possible to reach a solution which is accepted by the international community as well. I'm sure that you will take initiative to re-establish peace. As you know, in negotiations we are not a mediator, but if you wish so, and as long as you need it, we are ready to offer you facilitating means. During negotiations, We are aware that you are dealing with difficult and complex issues, but in addition to that, the suggestions at the negotiating table and a consensus to be reached can form the basis for an ultimate peace to be established in the future. With a sense of responsibility, sacrifice, a lasting and fair and sustainable solution can be reached. The progress that you make during negotiations can make it possible for a contact between leaders, which is the next stage to come. And we are ready to host such a contact as well. Even you coming together here is a reason for hope in the world and in your countries. You have efforts towards peace, and we hope that they will turn into auspicious results. Your heads of states are my valued friends, and I ask you to convey my most heartfelt regards to them. In the negotiations that you will run today, I wish all of you success. Thank you very much.
All right, we just heard from Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan addressing negotiators from Ukraine and Russia here in Istanbul at Dolmabahce Palace. Let's go to Melinda Nusifora, who is there in Istanbul. Okay, so Melinda, as we might have expected, this was more of a greeting and an exhortation to find a pathway to peace. It did happen a little bit earlier than expected, though. So do we know if the sides have had any opportunity yet today to talk?
It seems as if the address from the president was earlier than was anticipated, but the arrival of the leaders the delegations, the negotiating team, happened only a few minutes before the president. So it seems as if things have been brought forward a little bit, and there hasn't been time for the Turkish president to meet specifically and sit down at the negotiating table with the delegations. But he did specifically say he was handing over the responsibility of mediation, and that the foreign minister, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, would be providing the delegations with anything they require with regards to finding a peaceful resolution. He did say that even though this is still in the early stages, that progress is being made, just the fact that both sides are sitting down meeting is a source of hope to the world, he said.
So he wrapped it up by saying the next stage of these talks would be contact between the leaders of Ukraine and Russia, and that Turkey is ready to host that. What we didn't hear from this address, though, was any kind of announcement yet. So clearly, we're not at a stage to announce that next step. If that comes, it would be after the talks this afternoon.
That's right. We do understand that at the end of today's talks, we expect a member from the Ukrainian delegation to address the press, but there's a long way to go between then and now. They have a full day of negotiations to get through. This is a very long and protracted progress. We know that there are daily communications between lower levels of the negotiating teams. They then work up to these in-person meetings. This is the first one in almost 3 weeks now. They will go through the process, and then more talks will be had till the leaders can sit down in person. It's so painfully slow when you see what is happening on the ground in Ukraine, but incredibly necessary. They have to thrash out what can be on the negotiating table and what isn't going to be on the negotiating table. There is so much that needs to be done before the leaders can sit down and reach some kind of lasting peace. Hopefully, before then, there may be a ceasefire or further discussions on humanitarian corridors, which have successfully come out of previous negotiations.
Yeah, I think that's well put, Melinda, because there is, after all, a war going on. That means that the urgency is there to make some progress, but it also means that the extreme sensitivity is also present. Nobody knows which way this is going to go or how long it's going to take. We appreciate your being there and keeping us updated. Let's bring in Hassan Abdullah now, who joins us live in Ankara for more. Okay, Hassan, just a few weeks ago, we saw a higher level meeting, also in Turkey, between the foreign ministers of both of these countries. Clearly, that was not the time to move anything forward. Now we're seeing the delegations meet again.